Hello students, this is Vishan sir. This is my second video of first chapter, that is microeconomics and macroeconomics. In the previous video we have done the introduction, meaning, definition, scope and features of microeconomics. And in today's video we will see the last topic of the microeconomics, that is importance of microeconomics. There are 7 importance of microeconomics. The number 1 is price determination, second free market economy, third foreign trade, fourth economic model building, fifth business decisions, sixth useful to government, and the seventh basis of welfare economics. As I told in the previous video that importance of microeconomics link with the features of microeconomics. Yes. For example, in the second features of microeconomics says that it's a price theory. The same thing it is there in the importance of microeconomics, number 1, that is price determination. It means under this importance of microeconomics, price determination, it means the price of the commodity determined by two forces, that is demand force and supply force, and different other factors of production determined in the same way. Okay, so price determination is one of the important of microeconomics, where the price of the commodity determined by two forces and the factors of productions also determined by in the price determination. Factors of productions are nothing but land, labor, capital and entrepreneur, and their reward, that is rent, wages, interest and profit. All these things are determined in microeconomics. That's why it is a price determination. Okay. Second importance of microeconomics is free market economy. In the free market economy means what? The producer is free to decide how to produce, how much to produce, when to produce, whom to produce, what to produce. All these decisions are taken by the producer. So this is called as free market economy. So microeconomics also helps to understand the working of the free market economy. Okay, and in this case there is no government intervention. Means the microeconomics also helps to understand the laissez-faire policy. In the laissez-faire policy means there is no government intervention. The producer is free to decide their own action plan. So it is called as free market economy. The second importance of microeconomics is free market economy. Okay students, the third is foreign trade. What is the meaning of foreign trade? Foreign trade is nothing but there is a export and import of commodity between two or more than two countries. It is called as foreign trade. So the microeconomics also helps to explain various aspects of foreign trade, like effect of tariff on the particular commodity, determination of foreign exchange and determination of different foreign currencies of any two countries, gains from international trade to a particular country, etc. It means the microeconomics also helps to understand the foreign trade, where the trade takes place between two or more than two countries with their respective currencies, Okay student, because different country have different currencies. For example, in America there is a dollar. For example, in India there is a rupees. If the transaction takes place between India and America, so there will be proper exchange rate. For example, in India the $1 is equal to 72 rupees. It means when we give 72 rupees to the American government, the government will give $1 to us. So there will be exchange rate. So the microeconomics also helps to understand the foreign trade. Okay students, now the fourth importance of microeconomics is economic model building. It means the microeconomics also helps to understand the various complex economic situation with the help of economic models. It has made a valuable contribution to economic by developing various terms, concepts, terminologies, tools, economic analysis, etc. Economic models are built using various economic variables. It means, what is meaning of economic model building? Microeconomics also helps to understand the various complex economic situation. What is meaning of various complex economic situation? Means when the consumer purchases the commodity, the consumer should get the maximum satisfaction. If the consumer is not satisfied with his purchasing, so it is a complex situation in the economy. Okay, so small problems are nothing but the complex economic situations. So the microeconomics also focus on consumers satisfaction, like consumers behavior, utility analysis. All these are economic model buildings. Okay, the fifth importance of microeconomics is business decisions. It means the microeconomics theories are helpful to businessmen for taking crucial decisions. Crucial means important. Microeconomics also helps to businessman, entrepreneur, producer to take the important business decisions while producing any commodity, because ultimately the aim and objective of the businessman is to make the profit maximization. Okay, so microeconomics also helps to take the business decisions. Okay, and these decisions are related with the determination of cost of production, determination of price of the commodity, and ultimately the maximization of profit. It means when the producer wants to produce any commodity, first he will see how much the cost incurred by the firm, means how much expenditures will be made by him to produce any commodity, because ultimately the aim and objective of the producer is to maximize the profit maximization, and whereas the consumer's aim and objective is satisfaction maximization, utility maximization. Okay, the sixth importance of microeconomics is useful for the government. It means the microeconomics is also useful for the government to frame the economic policies such as taxation policies, okay, public expenditure policies, price policies, etc. Okay, what is meaning of taxation policy? Because ultimately the government gives many facilities to the public, so in the reward of that the government take the tax from the public. So the microeconomics also helps to the government to frame the taxation policy. It means the government should know whom to tax, how much to tax, when to tax. All these are nothing but the taxation policy. Okay, public expenditure. Public expenditure means the total amount of expenditure made by the government towards the public welfare. For example, infrastructure, facilities, water supply, electricity supply, making of bridge, dams, school, colleges, infrastructure, All these are nothing but the public expenditure. Okay, and price policy means how the government should decide the price of the commodity, that is budget. So budget is also one of the important things for the government, and microeconomics helps government to understand all these: budget, public expenditure, taxation policy, etc. Because of this policy, the government have to attain the goals to efficient allocation of resources and promoting economic welfare of the society. Yes, so because of this, government will attain the goal and also give the welfare service to the public, because public have power to elect the government. So after the government came into power, it's government duty to take care of their citizen. Okay, so the microeconomy also helpful for the government. Okay, the last important of microeconomics is it is a basis of welfare economics. It means the microeconomics also explain how the best result can be obtained through optimum utilization of resources and its best allocation. It also studies how taxes affect the social welfare. In this para, you can see what is meaning of optimum. Optimum means maximum. So the microeconomics also help the basic of welfare economics, because ultimately the government do for the public welfare. Okay, so microeconomy also explain how the best result can be obtained through the optimum utilization of resources. As you all know, the wants are unlimited. In the economy, wants are unlimited and the resources are limited. So how the government will utilize the limited resources so that the government can obtain the maximum welfare of the society. Okay, so it's all about importance of microeconomics. Okay, so in this way the micro part is over. If you see the chapter heading, the chapter heading is Introduction to Microeconomics and Macroeconomics. So as soon as you complete the importance of microeconomics, yes, so micro part is over. Let us enter into the second part of the chapter, that is macro. I spell MACRO, macroeconomics. As in the previous lecture, I have given a brief of macroeconomics, that is large economics. Okay, let us see again what is the meaning of macroeconomics. The macroeconomics derived from the Greek word macros, which means large. It means the macroeconomics study as a whole thing. Yes, it is study as a aggregate economics, means it is a study of the whole thing. Yes, macroeconomics is the branch of economics which analyze the entire economy. Entire means the whole, everything. Yes, it deals with the total employment, total national income, total output, total investment, total consumption, total saving, general price level, interest rates, inflation, trade cycle, business fluctuations. All these are comes under macroeconomics. So if you see this para, the macroeconomics is a study of aggregate. That's why macroeconomics is also called as aggregative economics. Yes, in the previous lecture I have told you microeconomics talk about the individual level study. That's why microeconomics is a individualistic economy, and the macroeconomics talk about the aggregate study. That's why macroeconomics is a aggregative economics, because study as a whole things. Okay, so I hope you got the meaning of macroeconomics. Let us see the definition part. The macroeconomics definition given by various economists, but we will see the precise definition given by J.L. Hansen. According to him, macroeconomics is that branch of economics which considers the relationship between large aggregates such as the volume of employment, total amount of saving, investment, national income, etc. And if you see this paragraph given by J.L. Hansen, it reveals the same thing. Macroeconomics is a study of aggregate. Aggregate means total, yes, total employment, total amount of saving, total investment, and national income. National income is the income of the whole nation. So it's a broad concept. So every broad concept comes under macroeconomics, and every small concept, individual concept, comes under microeconomics. Okay, I hope you got the definition of macroeconomics so far. Let us see the features of okay, after definition, the second definition we can see in your mobile screen. According to Professor Carl Shapiro, he defines macroeconomics deals with the functioning of the economy as a whole. Okay, students. So if you see this definition, is very precise definition, very short definition given by Professor Carl Shapiro. He said that macroeconomics deals with the functioning of the economy as a whole. What he said? He said that macroeconomics is nothing but when the entire economy functioning as a whole. Whole means total, aggregate. So if you analyze these two, both definitions are saying the same meaning. That is, macroeconomy is the study of whole economy, entire economy, aggregate economy, total economy. Yes. Now let us see the second very important question from this topic, that is scope and subject matter of macroeconomics, or we can say scope of macroeconomics. Okay, there are main four scope of macroeconomics. What is meaning of scope? Scope means branches, means how long the macroeconomics is expanded. So macroeconomics expanded in four branches, four scopes. Number one, theory of income and employment, theory of general price level and the level of inflation. Third, theory of economic growth and economic development. And the fourth one is the theory of distribution. Okay, let us see one by one. Number one scope of macroeconomics is theory of income and employment. It means the macroeconomics includes the income in a large level. Large in the sense, income means what? It is the income of the whole nation. Though we can say it is a national income, yes, business cycle, employment, all these comes under this theory, that is theory of income and employment. Okay, students. So macroeconomics analysis explain which factors determines the level of national income and employment, and what causes fluctuations in the level of income, output and employment. It means in this theory, what are the causes of fluctuations in income, employment, okay, income, employment, output. For example, what are the causes of unemployment? So population, poverty, income inequalities, all these are causes of fluctuations of employment. Okay, what are the causes of fluctuations in income? Someone is having more income, someone is having less income, so there is a fluctuation. So to understand these fluctuations, there is a theory of income and employment. Okay, we can see most of the contribution given by J.M. Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, from his book General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, published in year 1936. And he is also the father of modern economics. He is the father of macroeconomics, MACRO, macroeconomics. Okay, So it's all about theory of income and employment. Second scope of macroeconomics is theory of general price level and inflation. In this, what is the meaning of inflation? Inflation means there is a rise in price level. Inflation is a situation where the goods and services are sold at a high price. So this is called as inflation. And because of inflation, many people gets more poorer and many people gets more richer. So it is again fluctuation in the economy. So to understand all these, there is a macroeconomics as a scope. Okay, macroeconomics analysis shows the general price level is determined and further explain what causes fluctuations in it. The study of general price level is significant on account of problems created by the inflation and deflation. Okay, because in the economy either there will be inflation or deflation or stagnation. Okay, it means as I told, inflation means high price and deflation means the opposite of inflation. Deflation means low price. So to understand all these fluctuations, there is a theory of general price level and inflation. Okay students, let us see the third scope of macroeconomics is the theory of growth and development. Okay, the macroeconomics consists of theory of economic growth and development. It explains the causes of understanding of poverty, underdevelopment, etc. It also suggests the strategy. Strategy means plan. It also suggests the strategy for accelerating growth and development. Okay student, if I am not wrong, this topic already you have seen in your 11th standard, theory of growth and development. Growth means it is a natural and steady process, and development is a planned and automatic process. So to understand all this, there is a macroeconomics. And the fourth and important scope of macroeconomics is theory of distribution. In this top paragraph, we can see macroeconomics theory of distribution deals with the relative various factors that contributes to economic growth and economic development. It is useful in developing growth models. These growth models are used to studying economic development. For example, Mahalanobis growth model emphasizes on the basis of heavy industries. Okay, so in this theory of distribution, the macroeconomics also contribute the economic growth and economic development. It is useful in the developing growth models. There are many economists who give more emphasis on economic growth and economic development. For example, J.C. Mahalanobis, and this model was adopted during the second 5-year plan in India, and this plan was inaugurated by the Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in year 1956 to 1961. So this is nothing but the theory of distribution. It's all about theory of distribution. Okay students, so this is the scope and subject matter of macroeconomics. Now let us jump on the second important question, that is features of macroeconomics. So the features of macroeconomics is, we can take the opposite from the features of microeconomics. Okay, as I told, microeconomics is a study of individual economic units. Yes, microeconomics is the price theory. Microeconomics is a partial equilibrium. Microeconomics based upon the assumption that is ceteris paribus. Microeconomics uses slicing method. Yes, Microeconomics uses marginalism principle. It analyzes the market structure and it has limited scope. Now make it opposite of that. When you make the opposite of all the features of microeconomics, you will get the features of macroeconomics. Okay. For example, if you see the first features of micro, it is a individual study, and here the first features of macroeconomics is it is a study of aggregate. See, if you know the features of microeconomics very well, then you are able to write the features of macroeconomics very well. Okay, I'm just giving the trick side by side so that you can use your trick in the exam. Okay student, so the first features of macroeconomics is it is a study of aggregate, means aggregate income, total national income, total output, total investment, total saving, employment, price level, business cycle, all these comes under macroeconomics. So it is a study of aggregate. Aggregate means total, sum of, or we can say whole. Okay. Second features of macroeconomics is income theory. What I said in the beginning, when you make the opposite of microeconomic features, you get the features of macroeconomics. So in the microeconomics it was price theory, and in the macroeconomics it is income theory. Okay. So what is income theory? The macroeconomics studies the concept of national income, its different elements, method of measuring national income, social accounting. Okay, so all these are comes under income theory. Okay. Macroeconomics deals with the aggregate demand, aggregate supply, employment, aggregate income, total national income. All these are comes under aggregate. It explains the causes of fluctuations in national income and that leads to the business cycle, that is fluctuation in the business cycle, in that is inflation or deflation. So the income theory is the second features of macroeconomics. The third features of macroeconomics is general equilibrium. Okay, in the microeconomics it was partial equilibrium, and in that explanation I have told partial means half, incomplete, and in the macroeconomics it is general equilibrium. General equilibrium means where all the equilibriums are meet together, so there is a full equilibrium. It's a general equilibrium. So general equilibrium comes under macroeconomics and partial equilibrium comes under microeconomics. Okay. What is meaning of general equilibrium? The macroeconomics deals with the behavior of the large aggregates and their functional relationship. Okay. General equilibrium deals with the behavior of the aggregate demand, aggregate supply and price in the whole economy. Okay, this is called as general equilibrium. Okay. The fourth important features of macroeconomics is interdependence. Okay student, microeconomics is independent and macroeconomics is interdependence. Interdependence means what? Something is depend upon someone else, that is interdependence. And independence means what? It is a free, it is autonomous. Okay, so microeconomics is independent, it is free in the sense it is autonomous. Microeconomics does not depend upon anybody, but the macroeconomics depend upon microeconomics. Macroeconomics depend upon microeconomics. That's why the important features of macroeconomics is interdependence. Okay, because macroeconomics is extension of micro. First economic came. After economic, there are two branches, micro and macro. So after coming of micro, then there is a macro. So we can say we can say macroeconomics depend upon micro, so that's what is called as interdependence. Okay, macroeconomics analysis takes into account interdependence between aggregates economic variable such as income, output, employment, investment, price level, etc. For example, a change in level of investment will finally result into change in level of income. Okay, the level of output, employment, and eventually the level of economic growth. So all these are nothing but the interdependence. Okay, now the fifth one, the fifth features of macroeconomics is lumping method. Okay student, let us recall in the microeconomics it was slicing method. It means the microeconomics cut the economy into small slices and then study the each and every slice in a detail. But in the macroeconomics uses lumping method to study the economy. What is meaning of lumping? Lumping means the whole economy, the entire economy at a time. Okay, lumping method is a study of the whole economy rather than its part. According to Professor K.E. Boulding, yes, forest is a aggregation of trees, but it does not reveal the properties of an individual tree. We can see, according to this definition, macroeconomy is a study of entire forest, not a single tree. Microeconomy study the single tree, but the macroeconomy study the entire forest, and in the forest there are many trees, thousands and thousands trees are there in the forest. So according to K.E. Boulding, the forest macroeconomy study the forest. Okay, that's why it is a lumping method, because in the forest there are many trees, so macroeconomics study the many trees at a time, so it is a lumping. Lump means the aggregate, total, whole. Okay, okay student, that one understood. Okay, now the sixth one is growth models. The macroeconomics studies people, etc. It suggests the important steps to achieve economic development. Okay, very short. Okay, the sixth one is growth model. The macroeconomic studies various factors that contribute to economic growth and economic development. It is useful in developing growth models. These growth models are used for studying economic development. For example, same example, Mahalanobis growth model emphasize on the basis of heavy industries. Okay, so heavy industries comes under macro, so it is a growth model. The seventh features of macroeconomics is general price level. In the microeconomics it was individual price level, but in the macroeconomics it is general price level. General price means what? The price which is accepted by all people in the economy. It is general thing. Okay, general price level means what? The determination and changes in the general price level are studied in the macroeconomics. General price level is the average of all prices, goods and services currently being produced in the economy. It means general price level is the average of all price level, the goods and services produced currently in the economy. Okay, and the last features of macroeconomics is policy oriented. According to the father of modern economics, J.M. Keynes, macroeconomics is policy oriented science. It suggests suitable economic policies to promote economic growth, generate employment, control of inflation and depression. Okay, with the help of, so in the macroeconomics, the macroeconomics is a policy oriented, means it is a broad concept. Okay, it talk about the economic growth, economic development, generate the employment opportunity among the people, it controls the inflation and depression in the economy. So it's all about policy oriented. Okay students, so today I have covered this in this video: macroeconomics, what is the meaning of macroeconomics, definition of macroeconomics, scope of macroeconomics and features of macroeconomics, and importance of microeconomics that I left in the first video. Okay student, now you just take down one assignment after seeing this video. If you have any doubt, so let me know in this my personal WhatsApp number. And for today's assignment, for this, after this, the assignment for you people, that is, you just go through the importance of macroeconomics. Yes, as I told, the importance of microeconomics link with the features of microeconomics. Same thing, the importance of macroeconomics link with the features of macroeconomics. So if you just go through all these, you will come to know. Okay, and for betterment, you just go to the difference between the microeconomics and macroeconomics. Let me quickly wind up this. You should know the difference between the micro and macro. Okay, first, meaning is very clear. Microeconomy is a study of individual economic unit like individual consumer, individual producer, individual firm, and macroeconomic study as a whole thing in the economy. Tools, which tools the microeconomics uses? The microeconomics uses the demand, supply, all these as a tool, and in the macroeconomics it is aggregate demand, aggregate supply, etc. Scope, microeconomics has limited scope, that is demand, supply, production, pricing, factor, consumption, all these things. And macroeconomics have many scope, that is national income, general price level, output, employment, business cycle, fluctuation in business cycle, all these, depression, inflation, all these comes under macro. Yes, importance. Okay, microeconomics is important to determine the price of the commodity, model building, business decisions, etc. In the macroeconomics, it is importance is economic fluctuations, study of national income, economic development, etc. Okay, microeconomics also called as price theory, whereas macroeconomics also called as income theory. Okay, examples of microeconomics: individual income, individual consumption, individual price, individual firm, individual output, everything is individual based. And the example of macroeconomics: national income, national output, employment, total saving, total investment, general price level, all these comes under macroeconomics examples. Okay student, so you just take down the today's assignment of this video, that is importance of macroeconomics. Okay students, so I stop my video, second video here. Thank you class.